Okay, so yesterday we began learning about Das as it is, Das Elyon, the higher level of Das as it is in our lives. You can't decide either to understand something, you decide either to decide that you want something. What you could decide is about yourself. You could decide where your you is going to be. You could put your essence to something. It reminds me of the Hayom Yom we had a few months ago. Matan Adam, morning. Matan Adam Yarchavle, as a Hayom Yom, a gift of a person, gift of the person himself, Yarchavle will cause things to become comfortable. Which means you put yourself into something, then Hashem things open up. Your whole core, your whole being, your whole essence into something, then Yarchavle, then there is a certain kind of response from Hashem in enabling you to make that happen. So, regards to what we're discussing, usually, what the phraseology in Chassidus for this kind of thing is Das Nelam, the hidden level of Das. In this mimer, it calls it Das Elyon, a higher Das Elyon, which is Andrew, you're familiar with Das Elyon? Das Elyon, like Get Along, right? Famously, you know Das Elyon. Anyway, so Das Elyon usually is the term that's so I'll usually definition Das Elyon in a second, but in this mimer we're saying that Das Elyon doesn't only mean the a higher level of connection to Hashem, a higher level of perspective of the truth of Hashem, how l'mayla yesh l'mata ayin, how that which is above us, the Hashem's reality is a real reality. That which is less than or lower than Hashem's reality is not really real. That's Das Elyon. Das Elyon is that Hashem's reality is a true reality, and that which is beneath Hashem's reality, that's that which is not Hashem, anything other than Hashem is not real. I mean, I mean, the other perspective, Das Tachna, the lower level of Das is, the lower level of Das is that our reality is a real reality, and that which is above us is not real. That's the lower level of Das. That's our perspective. We're the real reality, and Hashem is not a real reality like we are. That's the usual conventional distinction between the higher and lower level of Das. In this mimer, we're introduced to another meaning of Das Elyon, as I said, is that Das Elyon means that you put your very core into something. You put your very being into something. You decide this thing matters. You decide this matters to you. Matters is a very Californian word last couple of years, right? Matters. Does it matter? Does your Hasidic life matter to you? Does your neshama matter to you? So if you say that it does matter, it causes a change in the whole makeup of yourself. It causes a change in the whole way things connect in your neshama. How so? Das is usually counted as one of the 10 spheres. Das is counted as a sphera, and it's between intellect and emotions. Between the intellect and emotions, you have Das. But first you understand something, and then, as we discussed yesterday, Das is about getting the pnimius. Das is about getting the inner meaning of something. When you understand the inner meaning of something, so then that affects you in an inner deeper way. When you understand something just externally, so then you respond also in an external way. But if you get something in a real deep way with Das, so then there's a response. There's an emotional response. You change as a result of your Das. You understood something, not just you understood it, you connected with it, it makes sense to you. You really experience, let's say, Chas v'Shalom, that how smoking is dangerous to your health. So then you have a different perspective on smoking. Or if Dr. Bresson puts you on the scale, you have a whole different perspective to cookies. Cookies become the enemy. But anyways, so yes, that's what I thought. Anyway, so Das is getting the inner meaning of something, and how that's when you get the inner meaning of something, that is what affects your inside. That makes you change inside. That you feel different about things. The higher level of Das is about connecting yourself to something and say, I care about this. It's not yet. You haven't processed it in your mind yet. You haven't yet analyzed it yet. You just said, like in the analogy I gave you yesterday, is that if you came to Lubavitcher Rebbe for a private audience and he gave you advice about your life, you would want to know what he's telling you, right? You would care. I really want to know. Like some people would go into the Rebbe's room with a pen and paper. Some people go into the Rebbe's room with a tape recorder. Some people will go in the Rebbe's room with an empty slate of their soul. They're just ready to hear, like the Rebbe is about to tell them what they need to know in their life. Like Rabbi Lipsker from Bell Harbor, he once went into the Rebbe, scared the Rebbe his name. Like, I just want to know. I just want to know anything. So that's called in this mimer. That's called the higher level of das. What happens is das. What happens is when you do that, there is a fusion of your chachma and bina in a different way. What does that mean? Ordinarily, chachma and bina are two different realms. Chachma is about getting the truth of something, and bina is where you stop and you turn around and you analyze it. Bina is about it is it not about the absolute truth of something. Bina is about cutting it up into pieces. Archimedes jumping into the bathtub. Archimedes jumping in the bathtub, right? So he had that flash of inspiration, right? That was the truth of the idea, the essence of the idea that he later developed. There was the eureka, and he runs through the streets naked, right? That was he was wow, it was amazing, right? That's the truth of something. Then there is the bina. Bina was we stop a second. So what did I just discover? What did this actually mean? What is it? Weight and volume and blah, 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 what is that? That's bina. So ordinarily, there's a separation between the chachma and the bina. Ordinarily, when you go from chachma to bina, you let go of that initial flash. The initial flash of inspiration has to go away. If you cut it up, you can't cut it up when you're in that wow eureka moment, right? When things are all eureka-dick, you can't really cut things up. See what I'm saying? You're in a eureka moment. Wow, you can't cut it up into pieces. Bina necessitates you to cut the thing up in pieces. Right. Ordinarily, bina means to dumb it down. Dumb it down, it makes you smarter, but you're dumbing it down so it makes sense to you. You're not trying to get to that eureka moment right now. Okay. So let's talk about Hashem. Chachma is about your appreciation, the truth of Hashem. Whether you're talking about chapter 3 in Shayach Emuna or chapter 2 in Tanya, you're learning something about Hashem, and you're learning the Tanya, right? Last night you spent a half hour learning Tanya, and more than that, Baruch Hashem, and you got this insight. You got wow, it's an insight. And then you're like, 1 second, what does this mean to me? When you move to what does this mean to me? Ordinarily, you're letting go of that wow idea, right? Ordinarily. You don't follow that? Okay. However, if your approach to the Tanya is that I really care what's happening in this book. This is my book. This is about me, and this is the story of my life, and I better figure this out because this is my story. As one chassid put it, you have to learn Tanya like learn the code of Jewish law. The code of Jewish law is about Shakol Niyabevar. You know what to say, right? Shakol Niyah Niyah. You have to know. That's the code of Jewish law. Same as also you learn Tanya. You have to know what's going on with me. Tanya is about me. So that's the way you're supposed to learn Tanya. As Rebbe Rashab said, you should learn Tanya like a dog howling out the moon. You should learn Tanya like it's my story. As we discussed yesterday, the analogy of the guy in the military. The mother was crying for him. So that's what you're supposed to learn. If you learn Tanya in that way, so then what happens is that there's a fusion between your Chachma and your Bina. Which means is that even when you go down to the stage of an analyzation and breaking it up and looking at the pieces, you still feel the light there of that initial flash. Yesterday's Hayom Yom. What do we say? That the Alter Rebbe developed ideas in an intricate way, in a Chabad way, and it made it less exciting, right? He put it into more words. His initial discourses were wowy. And the later ones were a little more intricate and sophisticated and step by step. So we said there's an advantage of that because it makes it more part of you, etc. But what we're saying in this mimer is if you approach Hasidus that you really care about it and you want it, there is a fusion between that initial flash and your analyzation, so that your analyzation stage is illuminated by that flash also. So that even when you're thinking about it, trying to bring it down and make it make sense to you, you're still getting the core of the idea. You're still getting the truth of the idea. You're not going away from that initial flash. You're not leaving that. And that has different way that affects the way you feel about it also. If you're trying to analyze it with your logic, which is external, and then you try to bring it into your das and connect with it, so then your das is connecting to the understanding. But if you decided before you began, or I'm using before and after, it doesn't really matter before and after. It matters if you say it matters to you and you care about it, and then you decide, I want to think about this concept because this is me. Then there is a different kind of a bond between your analyzation and your eureka discovery of that chapter in time. The eureka moment illuminates your analyzation. So you're still fully eurekatic while you are analyzing. There was a tzaddik, I forgot who it was. He was not doing so well, and one of his chassidim said to him, "Hey, Rabbi, how you doing today?" He said, "Baruch Hashem, I wish my gashmius, I wish my ruchnius, my spirituality was as good as my physical life." And his chassid is like, "Rabbi, you're pretty sick right now. All you could do is drink milk. That's all you could drink. Like what do you want about your spirituality to mirror your physical health? Like your physical health is pretty bad." He says, "When I drink the milk, it's all I could drink. That's me. I am the milk. I'm the milk. So I wish," he says, "I do a mitzvah, one mitzvah, that mitzvah could be me. That mitzvah could be me." There's another tzaddik, I don't remember his name. He was a tzaddik from Williamsburg, who I don't know if it was a Satmar Rebbe, another Rebbe looking in Williamsburg. And someone was describing to him another Rebbe. I should use it. Either way, whatever else to finish the story. He describes to him another Rebbe. And there's this Rebbe, when he came to Yom Kippur, I was at his court in Yom Kippur, and he spent 2 hours before he got to Baruch Shama. 2 hours he was davening and crying till he got to Baruch Shama. The other Rebbe was not impressed. It says pilachlach. Pilachlach means aspirin. Taking aspirin. In other words, like there's a way to be nourished by food, and a way to be nourished by vitamins and aspirin. It's just a pill. It's just exciting. So Yom Kippur, he has day of inspirations. He gets inspired and he goes all the way. That's nice. Then there's like living with Judaism. That's part of you. That's living with Judaism. That's you. So in the first story, in the story about the guy with the milk, what he was saying was, I do a mitzvah, I want this mitzvah to be me. That's Das Elyon. Das Elyon is where you say that this thing matters to you. And when you say it matters to you, it causes a fusion between your Chachma and your Bina that makes that your initial appreciation of the truth of Hashem that you're learning about illuminates the way you think about it, and therefore it illuminates your feelings also in a whole different way. Your feelings are no longer rational feelings about whatever it is. You're now they're super rational feelings. They're higher feelings.
It's really fun. What you're talking about was exactly what I read in Chinese last night, page 70 to 79. Said the same thing. There are tornadoes.
Beautiful.
I understood that, but
I haven't discovered the source of this yet, but someone told me once upon a time that when you learn something and you find something else that learns the same subject, cross into it, that's a good sign. Anyways, it should be a good sign for you. Continue Hatzlach in your studies. L'chaim. So let's continue now on page 79 over here. What we just said in the beginning of the chapter is that Adam and Eve marry each other. Adam and Eve marrying each other means Chachma and Bina marry each other. Adam, which is the father, and Chava, which is the mother of all life, Eve, represents Bina, because understanding is the mother of feelings. Adam marrying Eve means that your Chachma marries your Bina. What causes your Chachma to marry your Bina? It's that not just that your Chachma illuminates Bina and there's something Chachma goes to Bina, but that your Bina is in the same level as your Chachma. That's Das Elyon. That's this decision. I really care about what I'm going to learn. Let's start from the top again very quickly. 78 and top. What connects Chachma and Bina is Das. And that's the meaning of the pasuk. Adam knew Eve. Adam represents Chachma and Chav represents Bina. She is the mother of the children, the mother of the feelings. But Adam Yoda, and it says Adam knew Eve. What causes Adam and Eve to connect? It's Das. Adam knew means Das. Yoda is Das. What connects Chachma with Bina? It's Das. What does that mean in our lives? That means that you're connected deeply from the depth of your heart into the idea that you're thinking about. If it's just something you're understanding without that care, without that connection to it, it's just understanding, it's just thought, it's just an external thought. And even if you're thinking deeply about something, that you're really into it, you're scuba diving into a concept, but you didn't cut the cord, which means you didn't say, I really care about this. You're going all the way, you're analyzing it all different directions. So you scuba dive into this concept, but you still have a cord, meaning like you're in the water all the way. But what makes you tick, what makes you alive, you have other interests. So you can be very deeply thinking about something, but that's not where your heart is.
It's more like water. It compares to water.
True, hold on. Next page. However, if you have desire of your heart and you're excited and you're attached to the thing you're learning about, not just that you're immersed with your thoughts, but you care about what you're learning. Until you're completely attached to every sense of your body into this concept, which that's the idea of Das, that you're totally immersed in this thing. This matters to you. That is what causes a fusion between Chachma and Bina. That means in your analytical state of understanding, you'll still be illuminated with a vision of the Chachma. Your vision of Chachma will illuminate your understanding so that even your analytical Bina will also have that same magic, that same flavor, that same excitement of that initial flash.
You mean the entire flash or maybe just a part of it? Good question.
In general, Chachma has different parts. There is the vision of Chachma, which is Chachma, just like Chachma is seeing. Chachma, the initial flash, is compared to seeing something. Just like when you see something, a picture is not just 1,000 words. Right. And it's similar. That initial inspiration means your vision of that thing. You saw something. For a split second. So that initial thing that you saw, let's say when you see something, something, two things happen. First thing is that you actually saw the thing. The second thing is you now have a perspective of this thing. You have some logical thing in your brain because of what you saw. Chochmah has a re'iyah part of it, and Chochmah has a seichel part of it too. So the language of the Rebbe over here is that even the higher part of Chochmah, even the vision of Chochmah, also is in the Bina, it seems. Sounds like light years away, yeah.
No?
I don't disagree. I'm not disagreeing with that feeling. That's how you feel, and that's probably not how we should feel. How should we feel? We should feel is that that the Rebbe is saying something to me that I could relate to in some way. So maybe I'm not at the level of Chachma and Bina and Das, but when I learn a chapter in Tanya and I think about it for davening, I should realize this means me and I should care about it. And the more I care about it, the more it'll lift me up. Don't forget the Chachma. Don't forget that higher, deeper perspective. This Das, which connects Chachma with Bina, is called, what is it called? Das Elyon. Your friend. Higher level Das. Okay, I just want to point out we discussed a few days ago, when das is counted, Kesser isn't counted. Remember that? Right. When das is counted, Kesser isn't counted. When Kesser is counted, das isn't counted. So now in our lives, our higher level of das is our connection to the pnimius hakesser, the deeper part of the crown, which the deeper part of the crown isn't in the realm of the other parts of the spheres. When the das is counted, right, das is a deeper level, it's a higher level, and it's not in the realm of the spheres. I'm sorry, when das is not counted. Das not being counted means that das is in a higher level. Okay, I just took a right turn and drove into a wall. Okay. Let me just say one sentence. It says when das is counted, Kesser isn't counted. When Kesser is counted, das isn't counted. There is a part of Kesser which is counted as part of the spheres. Which part of Kesser is counted as part of the spheres? The external part of Kesser. The external part of Kesser is counted as one of the spheres because the external part of Kesser has some relationship to the spheres. Kesser is desire. Desire is what motivates all of our other soul faculties.
And Shabbos, when we do
Kesser.
I
mean, let me do more homework about Kesser. You asked about it last week. I've done more homework. I want to make sure I give you the right answer this time. But for right now, Kesser is connected to other spheres because Kesser is from desire for the spheres. From desires have the world of Atzilus. Because from desires the world of Atzilus, there is the world of Atzilus. So Kesser is considered part of the spheres. Kesser is a desire for the spheres. The inner dimension of Kesser is not considered part of the spheres. So Das Elyon, the higher level of Das, when that is counted, Kesser isn't counted. When Das connects to the inner dimension of Kesser, so that part of Kesser can't be counted as part of the spheres. When there is no Das, we don't have that connection to the inner dimension of Kesser. We only have the connection to the external part of Kesser. That could be counted as part of the spheres. It's okay. You don't have to understand this part. Let's go further. Not only that, it says that it says even more. It says a king becomes a king because of the crown.
But it has that circle, what the king represents. But that's not the inner desire or your deep relationship. It's an external thing where you feel fear, you feel servitude.
Love you, Rafa.
I love you.
That is your external perception. So that external level of pressure.
Hold on a second. I just want to. Ordinarily, the Alter Rebbe is called a new soul. That's a language we use about the Alter Rebbe is a new soul. And ordinarily, it's translated as a soul that's never been here before. And Rabbi Yoel Khan, another chassid, had a discussion about this. What does it mean a new soul? Does it mean a soul that's never been here before? Does it mean a new kind of soul? A new kind of soul or a soul that's never been here before? What does new soul mean? The Alter Rebbe had a new soul. What does new soul mean? Either a soul that's never been here or a new kind of soul of a different realm. So Rabbi Yoel Khan brought a proof to his friend from Maimer in Alter Rebbe as a Maimer where it says that there's no kind of soul. I think it's in the Kudatera and Shem somewhere. And he proves this, and they wrote to the Rebbe, asked the Rebbe, actually his friend wrote to the Rebbe, asked the Rebbe, who's right? The Rebbe's response was, why you guys, what's the difference to you? Like, what are you mixing the stuff which is above you? That's what Rebbe's told him. However, when Rabbi Yoel Khan put together the essence of Chassidus, he prepared that for publication, the Rebbe's talk about the essence of Chassidus. And there's a mention of Alter Rebbe being a new soul. And there, the Rebbe in the footnote says, "What's the definition of a new soul?" And he quotes that mimer of Kutatera, where it says that there is a new kind of soul, and what's the difference in the new? What does a new kind of soul mean? So he says the old revelation of Hashem that came through Adam and came through all the tzaddikim until Mashiach are all from the external part of Kesser, external part of the crown, and the revelation of Mashiach. And the relation of these neshamas, which is new kind of neshamas, they are a revelation of the inner dimension of Kesser. So the meaning of the Alter Rebbe being a new neshama is that his neshama channels from the inner dimension of Kesser. His neshama connects to the inner dimension of Kesser, and so all the revolution that the Alter Rebbe caused in Torah and in Aveda and in the world was all. It's a new kind of thing. It's something from the future. It's something from the era of Mashiach, which is the era of Timis HaKesser, the era of the inner dimension of the crown.
That's our civilization. We've achieved everything from the moment.
Interesting.
We have it. But that's
Let's just give a conclusion to this topic since I started. Let me just finish it. The inner dimension of Kesser cannot be counted as part of Atzilus. It's way beyond Atzilus. That's something of the future, something of Mashiach. That's something the Alter Rebbe started to reveal. That's something higher. When Das is counted, Kesser isn't counted. If you're connecting to the inner dimension of Kesser, which is what Das does, you can't count Kesser as part of the spheres. If you don't have Das Elyon, Das in the sentence means Das Elyon. If you don't have Das Elyon, all you have the external part of Kesser. The external part of Kesser could be counted as part of the spheres. You get it? Good.
It relates to, yes, they're synonymous, aren't they?
Yes, Das Elyon channels the inner dimension of Kesser. That's correct.
What, both at the same time, what am I?
You can only have 10.
No, the translation of the word Kesser is different. Das, there's a few words missing from the sentence. When you have Das Elyon, you don't have Kesser as counted as part of Atzilus because you're talking about the inner dimension of Kesser. Das Elyon channels the inner dimension of Kesser, which cannot be counted as one of the spheres. The discussion is about Kesser. Should Kesser be counted as one of the spheres? And the answer is, if you're talking about the external part, it could. But with the inner part, it can't. So Das Elyon, when you have Das, if you're connecting to the inner part of Kesser, it can't be counted as part of the spheres. If you don't have the connection to the inner part of Kesser, you're just channeling from the external part of Kesser, then that could be counted as part of the spheres. Let me say, I don't know, try one more time.
It's
visual.
What? Go for it.
The diagram.
Ask him. Go ahead.
I can ask a minute.
Okay. So just one sentence. What main thing we discussed today is how the higher level of Das exists in ourselves as well. Although we were talking about Hashem and Das Elyon, there's also a Das Elyon in ourselves. Das Elyon in ourselves is our ability to connect to something and to really care about something. And that decision to care about something, to give ourselves into something, Yarchale, Matan Adam Yarchale Knigdil Yanchanu, when you put yourself into something, so that causes the neurons, I know what the word is, between Chochmah and Bina to connect in a different way. That allows your initial flash of understanding to illuminate your logic and your analytics, so that you should, and your feelings, so that you're more plugged into the truth of what you're trying to think about. Okay. Synapse. Okay. Hazaka Baruch, everybody. Have a great day.